Recorded Books presents Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes, narrated by Jeff Woodman.
Progress Report 1, March 3. Dr. Strauss says I should write down what I think and remember and everything that happens to me from now on. I don't know why, but he says it's important, so they'll see if they can use me. I hope they use me, because Miss Kinnian says maybe they can make me smart. I want to be smart. My name is Charlie Gordon. I work in Donner's Bakery, where Mr. Donner gives me $11 a week, and bread or cake if I want. I'm 32 years old, and next month is my birthday. I told Dr. Strauss and Professor Niemer I can't write good, but he says it don't matter. He says I should write just like I talk, and like I write compositions in Miss Kinnian's class at the Beekman College Center for Retarded Adults, where I go to learn 3 times a week on my time off. Dr. Strauss says to write a lot, everything I think and everything that happens to me, but I can't think anymore because I have nothing to write, so I will close for today. Yours truly, Charlie Gordon. Progress Report 2, March 4. I had a test today. I think I failed it, and I think maybe now they won't use me. What happened is, I went to Professor Niemer's office on my lunchtime like they said, and his secretary took me to a place that said Psych Department on the door, with a long hall and a lot of little rooms with only a desk and chairs. And a nice man was in one of the rooms, and he had some white cards with ink spilled all over them. He said, "Sit down, Charlie, and make yourself comfortable and relax." He had a white coat like a doctor, but I don't think he was no doctor because he didn't tell me to open my mouth and say ah. All he had was those white cards. His name is Bert. I forgot his last name because I don't remember so good. I didn't know what he was going to do, and I was holding on tight to the chair like sometimes when I go to a dentist. Only Bert ain't no dentist neither, but he kept telling me to relax, and that gets me scared because it always means it's gonna hurt. So Bert said, "Charlie, what do you see on this card?" I saw the spilled ink, and I was very scared even though I got my rabbit's foot in my pocket, because when I was a kid, I always failed tests in school, and I spilled ink too. I told Bert I saw ink spilled on a white card. Bert said, "Yes," and he smiled, and that made me feel good. He kept turning all the cards, and I told him, "Somebody spilled ink on all of them, red and black." I thought, that was an easy test. But when I got up to go, Bert stopped me and said, "Now sit down, Charlie. We're not through yet. There's more we gotta do with these cards." I didn't understand about it, but I remember Dr. Strauss said do anything the tester telled me, even if it don't make no sense, because that's testing. I don't remember so good what Bert said, but I remember he wanted me to say what was in the ink. I didn't see nothing in the ink, but Bert said there was pictures there. I couldn't see no pictures. I really tried to see. I holded the card up close and then far away. Then I said, if I had my eyeglasses, I could probably see better. I usually only wear my eyeglasses in the movies or to watch TV, but I said, maybe they will help me see the pictures in the ink. I put them on and I said, now, let me see the card again. I bet I find it now. I tried hard, but I still couldn't find the pictures. I only saw the ink. I told Bert, maybe I need new glasses. He wrote something down on a paper, and I got scared of failing the test. So I told him it was a very nice picture of ink with pretty points all around the edges. But he shaked his head, so that wasn't it neither. I asked him if other people saw things in the ink, and he said yes, they imagined pictures in the ink blot. He told me the ink on the card was called ink blot. Bert is very nice, and he talks slow, like Miss Kinnian does in her class, where I go to learn reading for slow adults. He explained me it was a raw shock test. He said people see things in the ink. I said, show me where. He didn't show me. He just kept saying, think. Imagine there's something on the card. I told him, I imagine a ink blot. He shaked his head, so that wasn't right either. He said, what does it remind you of? Pretend it's something. I closed my eyes for a long time to pretend, and then I said, I pretend a bottle of ink spilled all over a white card, and that's when the point on his pencil broke, and then we got up and went out. I don't think I passed the raw shock test. Third Progress Report, March 5. Dr. Strauss and Professor Niemer say it don't matter about the ink on the cards. I told them I didn't spill the ink on them, and I couldn't see anything in the ink. They said maybe they'll still use me. I told Dr. Strauss that Miss Kinnian never gave me tests like that, only writing and reading. He said Miss Kinnian told him I was her bestest pupil in the Beekman School for Retarded Adults, and I tried the hardest because I really wanted to learn. I wanted it more even than people who are smarter even than me. Dr. Strauss asked me, how come you went to the Beekman School all by yourself, Charlie? How did you find out about it? I said, I don't remember. Was doing the same thing Bert wanted me to do with the lines on the paper. I was laughing because I thought it was going to be a hard thing for a mouse to do. But then Algernon kept going all the way through that thing, all the right ways, till he came out where it said finish, and he made a squeak. Bert says that means he was happy because he did the thing right. Boy, I said, that's a smart mouse. Bert said, would you like to race against Algernon? I said, sure. And he said he had a different kind of a maze, made of wood, with rows scratched in it, and an electric stick like a pencil. And he could fix up Algernon's maze to be the same, like that one, so we could both be doing the same kind. He moved all the boards around on Algernon's table, because they come apart, and he could put them together in different ways. And then he put the screen back on top, so Algernon wouldn't jump over any rows to get to the finish. Then he gave me the electric stick, and showed me how to put it in between the rows, and I'm not supposed to lift it off the board, just follow the little scratches until the pencil can't move anymore, or I get a little shock. He took out his clock, and he was trying to hide it, so I tried not to look at him, and that made me very nervous. When he said, go, I tried to go, but I didn't know where to go. I didn't know the way to take. Then I heard Algernon squeaking from the box on the table, and his feet scratching like he was running already. I started to go, but I went in the wrong way and got stuck, and a little shock in my fingers, so I went back to the start. But every time I went a different way, I got stuck, and a shock. It didn't hurt or anything, just made me jump a little, and Bert said it was to show me I did the wrong thing. I was halfway on the board when I heard Algernon squeak like he was happy again, and that means he won the race. And the other 10 times we did it over, Algernon won every time, because I couldn't find the right rows to get to where it says finish. I didn't feel bad, because I watched Algernon, and I learned how to finish the maze, even if it takes me a long time. I didn't know mice were so smart. Progress Report 5, March 6. They found my sister Norma, who lives with my mother in Brooklyn, and she gave permission for the operation. So they're going to use me. I'm so excited I can hardly write it down. But then Professor Niemer and Dr. Strauss had an argument about it first. I was sitting in Professor Niemer's office when Dr. Strauss and Bert Selden came in. Professor Niemer was worried about using me, but Dr. Strauss told him I looked like the best one they tested so far. Bert told him Miss Kinnian recommended me the best from all the people who she was teaching at the Center for Retarded Adults, where I go. Dr. Strauss said I had something that was very good. He said I had a good motivation. I never even knowed I had that. I felt good when he said not everybody with an IQ of 68 had that thing like I had it. I don't know what it is, or where I got it, but he said Algernon had it too. Algernon's motivation is the cheese they put in his box. But it can't be only that, because I didn't have no cheese this week. Professor Niemer was worried about my IQ getting too high from mine that was too low, and I would get sick from it. And Dr. Strauss told Professor Niemer something I didn't understand, so while they was talking, I wrote down some of the words in my notebook for keeping my progress reports. He said, "Harold," that's Professor Niemer's first name, "I know Charlie is not what you had in mind as the first of your new breed of couldn't get the word, Superman. But most people of his low ment are host and uncoop. They're usually dull and apathetic and hard to reach. Charlie has a good nature, and he's interested and eager to please." Then Professor Niemer said, "Remember, he will be the first human being ever to have his intelligence increased by surgery." Dr. Strauss said, "That's exactly what I meant. Where will we find another retarded adult with this tremendous motivation to learn? Look how well he has learned to read and write for his low mental age. A I didn't get all the words, and they were talking too fast, but it sounded like Dr. Strauss and Bert was on my side, and Professor Niemer wasn't. Bert kept saying, "Alice Kinnian feels he has an overwhelmed desire to learn. He actually begged to be used, and that's true because I wanted to be smart." Dr. Strauss got up and walked around and said, "I say we use Charlie." And Bert nodded. Professor Niemer scratched his head and rubbed his nose with his thumb and said, "Maybe you're right. We will use Charlie. But we've got to make him understand that a lot of things can go wrong with the experiment." When he said that, I got so happy and excited, I jumped up and shook his hand for being so good to me. I think he got scared when I did that. He said, "Charlie, we worked on this for a long time, but only on animals like Algernon. We are sure there's no physical danger for you, but there are other things we can't tell until we try it. I want you to understand this might fail, and then nothing would happen at all. Or it might even succeed temporary and leave you worse off than you are now. Do you understand what that means? If that happens, we will have to send you back to the Warren State Home to live." I said I didn't care because I ain't afraid of nothing. I'm very strong and I always do good, and beside, I got my lucky rabbit's foot and I never breaked a mirror in my life. I dropped some dishes once, but that don't count for bad luck. Then Dr. Strauss said, "Charlie, even if this fails, you're making a great contribution to science. This experiment has been successful on lots of animals, but it's never been tried on a human being. You will be the first." I told him, "Thanks, Doc. You won't be sorry for giving me my second chance like Miss Kinnian says." And I mean it like I told them. After the operation, I'm gonna try to be smart. I'm gonna try awful hard. Progress Report 6th, March 8. I'm scared. Lots of people who work at the college and the people at the medical school came to wish me luck. Bert, the tester, brought me some flowers. He said they were from the people at the psych department. He wished me luck. I hope I have luck. I got my rabbit's foot and my lucky penny and my horseshoe. Dr. Strauss said, "Don't be so superstitious, Charlie. This is science." I don't know what science is, but they all keep saying it, so maybe it's something that helps you have good luck. Anyway, I'm keeping my rabbit's foot in one hand and my lucky penny in the other hand with the hole in it. The penny, I mean. I wish I could take the horseshoe with me too, but it's heavy, so I'll just leave it in my jacket. Joe Carp from the bakery brought me a chocolate cake from Mr. Donner and the folks at the bakery, and they hope I get better soon. At the bakery, they think I'm sick, because that's what Professor Niemer said I should tell them, and nothing about an operation for getting smart. That's a secret until after, in case it don't work or something goes wrong. Then Miss Kinnian came to see me, and she brought me some magazines to read, and she looked kind of nervous and scared. She fixed up the flowers on my table and put everything nice and neat, not messed up like I made it. And she fixed the pillow under my head. She likes me a lot, because I try very hard to learn everything, not like some of the people at the adult center who don't really care. She wants me to get smart, I know. Then Professor Niemer said I can't have any more visitors because I got a rest. I asked Professor Niemer if I could beat Algernon in the race after the operation, and he said maybe. If the operation works good, I'll show that mouse I can be as smart as he is, even smarter. Then I'll be able to read better and spell the words good and know lots of things and be like other people. Boy, that would surprise everyone. If the operation works and I get smart, maybe I'll be able to find my mom and dad and sister and show them. Boy, would they be surprised to see me smart, just like them and my sister. Professor Niemer says if it works good and it's permanent, they will make other people like me smart also. Maybe people all over the world. And, he said, that means I'm doing something great for science, and I'll be famous, and my name will go down in the books. I don't care so much about being famous. I just want to be smart like other people, so I can have lots of friends who like me. They didn't give me anything to eat today. I don't know what eating got to do with getting smart, and I'm hungry. Professor Niemer took away my chocolate cake. That Professor Niemer is a grouch. Dr. Strauss says I can have it back after the operation. You can't eat before an operation. Not even cheese.